The Kirkham Heritage Health and Wellbeing programme is part of a bigger Kirkham Futures overall programme, which is under the banner of Heritage Action Zone, Historic High Streets. That's a national programme the Historic England are funding. So in partnership with the Fylde Council, they've been working on revitalising, renovating, restoring the High Street, and within that there's a programme specifically on wellbeing of the community and individuals that we're piloting, essentially looking at the potential of heritage-based activities and historic environment having a benefit on health and wellbeing of people in the community, also encompassing the idea of social prescribing.
Coming out of COVID, this project was really so important for the borough and for Kirkham because it spoke to those hard to reach groups that don't necessarily know how to engage or don't know who to speak to, and we're a bit cautious about coming back out into the normal world. So these groups have started, and they've been small to start with, and they've just encouraged people to come along for a few hours and get involved.
We've been working in Kirkham for the last 2.5 years. It's been an incredible experience. We feel really privileged to have been able to work with the community, and a community that have a really rich heritage, but it's kind of hidden. Part of what we've been doing is trying to empower people, help them understand the social wealth, kind of the historic capital they've got in their community. Rather than saying we're doing a mental health programme, we wanted to do a programme that's about things that are relevant to people's lives. So about the local history, about how their people respond through art, about the importance of nature and actually developing a new growing space at the library, and how that can really enhance your well-being by being physically active.
My aim is to get people to really start to love their environment, to start to claim it really. I think growing your own produce gives that real sense of well-being in itself. It's like being with other people, growing something, to harvest something, to make a meal for other people. It's a real connector. If you feel well or feel wellness when you're sharing food, with others, if you're eating on your own day after day after day, it's not good for you. It's not good for your health, and I think that it boosts your immunity by sharing food with others.
Just today we're having a really nice lunch, and it's nice to see such a diverse group of people who come from all over but come here to talk about what Kirkham means to them, whether it's social connections, whether it's where family live. But yeah, just getting this lovely space where anyone can talk to anyone and be so welcoming. It's lovely.
I'll have a void in my life, and I don't have to fill every hour, but it'd be nice to think, oh yes, on a Thursday I can come down and see people, see what potentially I'm capable of doing as well. And the herbal side of it, with all the herbs and that, was magnificent. When we were making herbal tea, and then we were making balm, which again, we would never have done anything like that if we hadn't joined that group. The communication with other people enriches your life. I've always felt part of Kirkham, but I feel now that Kirkham has embraced my life as well, if you know what I mean.
I started a kind of art and heritage group called Kirkham Creative Heritage Explorers. We spent quite a bit of time just saying, well, what are you interested in? What excites you about your place? Let's research together. And of course, there's the wonderful archives upstairs, the Kirkham and Mountainous Heritage Collection that Adrian Long kind of looks after. So we had that wonderful resource to sort of dip in and out. We had a trip to Lancashire Archives at the Bow Lane site in Preston.
There is a growing interest in the past. There are some where we use these archives and people say, have you got an old photo of such and such a building, or have you got an image of a particular street or something like that. And yes, you can see that people are inspired by it.
I think a lot of people go about their daily lives and don't really think about what's around them, but I think as soon as they start discovering what's happened here, people are fascinated, and certainly I found that, you know, the more you find out, the more you want to know, really, and the more there is to know. There's a lot of history in Kirkham.
More recently, we've been trying to put our emotions and our feelings about the map and about history into art. I mean, when you're doing research, you sort of narrow and you sort of put your head down and you get on with it. But when you're doing art, you tend to be a bit more sort of open, and it's like learning new skills. As a group, I think we're all a bit nervous to begin with, but I think we're gaining confidence, and it's always enjoyable to learn new things.
We identified all the positive elements of the people, the place and the culture and the heritage, and then we found out and discovered more about the deeper sort of roots of the textile, flax linen heritage and the mills. The real thing about the co-producing, co-production, listening to the group, identifying what their needs, what their ideas are, and really sort of working with the group rather than me thinking what they wanted, extending their skills, highlighting their amazingness of their peer support.
The concept of the men's shed is all about just creating a space where men can connect, have a chat over a brew, and do some interesting stuff at the same time. So actually it seeks to tackle feelings of isolation, of just not having a forum or a place to connect and have conversations. So that's really that's what's behind. I think everyone involved has a personal thing about community, actually, and the importance of community, and to actually create something that serves the community in maybe a slightly different way to how we would typically do it. We just thought it would be really helpful. There's a rhythm that's emerging with this now, and that's great. So we're hoping to have more people come and join as we develop this space here, which is still a bit to do.
The best bit of my work is finding hidden treasures in communities, and those hidden treasures are people that with support could go on to grow social capital themselves. So they might think that they couldn't run something, but with a little bit of funding and a little bit of help, they could certainly start to become a volunteer, and of course that is one of the 5 words to wellbeing, so they start to help themselves, and that way the community spirit grows, and all of those community cohesion and things that support health and wellbeing all start to then be organically generated from the ground up.
I've seen huge changes. A lot of it's very felt. You can't really put it into words, but you see people not wanting to engage initially when they come. One particular participant's been with us for the whole programme, and she's a completely different person, and then she's gone into engage with other people on other projects and made new friends. And I've seen that with a lot of people. I've seen people just more openly communicating with each other.
What I'd hope for the next stage for Kirkham with the projects that we've been working on is that all that hard work of all the connections and identifying what's needed, that the groups of the people that have already connected, peer supporting each other, and some of them are becoming really good sort of leaders within the group. It'd be really amazing to sort of help signpost, support, encourage, extend ways in which it can continue, so that all that hard work of all those new connections and ways that they've been flourishing, how they can just keep going without us.
It's made me feel more connected to the community because I found out so much about it. I helped collect oral histories from various people explaining their life in Kirkham, looking at things like what it was like during the wartime, how the high street has changed over the years, where they went to school, what pleasure activities they used to do. So we've got a wide variety now of different oral histories that are going to be kept at the Lancashire Archives, so anyone can go and access those. So I found out so much about Kirkham and the people of Kirkham and the heritage. It's been amazing, and I think everyone should get involved in this. Yeah, it's really good.
So a big hope is to make sure that we have done as much as we can to encourage the community in their connections. And I think we're seeing examples of that where people have become more connected with each other, which is a really good indicator of well-being, that they are informed and learn skills and making those connections and sharing and opportunities for developing things themselves, which we've already seen.
They thought about, now that they're at the group, how many connections they have, and it was incredible. They were happier, they were more connected. We did some more detailed case studies, and some of the residents were saying what a huge difference the project had made to them. So now it's about thinking about, right, okay, so what do the community want next? How can we ensure that all of those good things that have happened be self-sustaining once the project ends?
Yeah, in an ideal world, sustained funding means that you can sustain these relationships. It might be that your involvement changes. They're just getting to a point now, I think, where they're feeling more confident and are growing from this. To stop is criminal, really, because you're just getting them to a point and they're not quite there yet. It needs another couple of years, really, and then they can really start to put something structured in that, you know, then you can walk away from it and say, well, that's it, they're happy, they're ready to go.
So I mentioned about Historic England and their interest around the potential of heritage-based activities for social prescribing and wellbeing. So they've launched a strategy, and Kirkham, the Kirkham programme is referenced within that, and some other literature. So there's a strategy that is quite significant, really, and that ties in with a number of other kind of initiatives that are happening around this creative health sector.
Historic England in particular see Kirkham as being quite innovative when it comes to this, and we were one of the few houses that did achieve funding for a dedicated health and wellbeing programme. But I don't think they could have seen how well it's gone, and the team that we've had in the background working on this project have brought out so much more than I think anyone thought that we would bring out, and it's been a real success. I think it's been, possibly alongside the Cultural Consortium, actually the most effective project within this programme. And it's not usually something that will be funded through a programme like this. So we hope, I should say we as a council hope that it will only go on from here and get stronger and stronger, and that Kirkham could be a real example of how to weave health and wellbeing into a much wider programme. It doesn't need to be a separate thing, it can be part of what's going on. So yeah, we're proud, to be honest, very proud of how it's gone, and proud that the team we've had have worked so hard for Kirkham, and I think they would say themselves now they feel they are part of Kirkham. The Kirkham Futures programme is the start of what we hope will be something that carries on for many, many years and just gets better and bigger.